Move to return from exec session.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Worth?
Yes. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes. Presentations and recognitions. We have one this evening.
Yes, and good evening. I have an announcement for retirement from public service for Mr. Gary Hucker. And he's here with us, and I'm going to ask him to come up and join us in a minute. But if I would just say a few things. Gary joined the Anderson Township Road Department on June 1st, 1987, probably before most of the board was born.
What?
Probably. Huh? No? Okay. Gary progressed to an operator and was appointed to lead man. Gary, for the last 7 to 10 years, has been ongoing with special projects throughout the township. When it needed to be trimmed, cut, cleaned, pulled back, covered up, picked up, delivered, Gary was our go-to guy in many ways. So we are greatly going to miss his service to the township. I would ask you if one man makes a difference, but I know that's a rhetorical question. I already know it. I'll give you a recent story. As most of the board knows, Anderson Township adopted the highway cleanup program for 275. For many years, we would go about getting 5 or 6 office people and the road guys together, and we would head out in the afternoon and about 4 or 5 hours start and progress all the way through the highway and knock out the entire cleaning of 275. Gary came to me one day and he says, you know, if I just stay on top of that and get to that when I can, I don't think the rest of you guys will need to come out. And I said, you're one man, Gary. He said, yep, I don't think the rest of you will need to come out. So I said, well, let's try that a couple times and see how it works. So for the last 8 months or so, Gary has single-handedly cleaned 275 by himself. And I just want the board to know that, and I have had a lot of compliments and comments from the public going, was there one guy out there cleaning the highway? Well, the answer is yes. Well, here's the man, and he can make a difference. He did for 30 years. We're sorely going to miss Gary Hucker.
Yep.
Yeah, we ain't got nobody else in here tonight, so.
No.
What was that?
You have to repair it.
Yeah, you ain't done yet, you gotta fix it.
Thanks for your service.
Good job.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you. You missed it, you gotta leave. I'm kidding. It's like you were running over here. You didn't run all the way down.
Don't let him drive anything.
I have personally seen him out there many, many times on my way downtown, so that is,
Thank you for that. That is definitely over and above. We appreciate it. Thank you.
thanks, Gary.
We're going to miss you, apparently. So we'll be watching 275.
I thought you were doing it, Dee.
I thought Dee will take over for you if you
I'm
could just,
volunteering to do.
No,
if you could,
make a great volunteer.
yeah,
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Dee Stone to the 275
Second.
Cleanup Committee.
second.
All in favor?
Yep.
No,
Done that.
decline.
All right. It's official.
Public forum. Individuals who wish to address the board should make non-repetitive points as clearly and concisely as possible, limiting their comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Anyone here that would like to speak to the board is welcome to do so now. Come on up.
My wife's on the way here, she's kind of late. For her to speak if possible. How much time is there?
2 minutes. I'm kidding. Can we make it, can we just shift it around? Yeah, when she gets there, it's fine. Is that okay, Joe?
Why don't we do our comments? Trustee Pappas, you have any comments?
About?
This is the point where it says trustee comments? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, actually, no. I'm glad that, Mr. Hucker, I'd like to say thank you for your service. I mean, being with us that long is amazing, and I appreciate that work ethic. Now, I hope Dee picks up the slack as she's out there picking up the stuff.
Only if I get a yellow shirt.
Can make that happen.
We can do that. But no, I don't have anything to say. It's been pretty quiet in the township. Things are going well. I think everyone's pretty happy by the lack of anybody here to voice their opinion otherwise, so, no.
I have nothing to add either. I'm good.
I'm good too. So let's move along to the fiscal report. Ken?
Well, we have financial reports for the end of July, and the revenues, obviously, I keep saying this, are ahead of schedule because of the real estate tax collections, but that will eventually catch up. Second item, appropriation changes. I just, when we did our budget for the senior center expenses, we were kind of unsure as to what was going to happen there. We took the budget from over 150,000, we reduced it down, and with the new organization in there and everything, we need to adjust it back up. We're taking it from legal. We think we have enough extra money in there, but it was just, we didn't really know what we were going to be up against as far as the senior expenses were. So I would need your approval to make a change in the general fund and in the fire and rescue fund. Building repairs just unanticipated. Hopefully that $12,800 is going to get us through the rest of the year, but you never know. Something can happen, and we might have to come back to you on that. So I'd like your approval on those changes.
I move to adopt the changes made by Fiscal Officer Ken Dietz.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes. Thanks, Ken.
I don't have the next page.
What do you want, buddy?
We got one.
Nothing. No, that's not you.
Is that all you have, Ken?
That's all you have.
Yes.
That's it. That's all you have.
Margaret?
No report this evening.
Thank you. Planning and zoning?
There, but
Paul?
that one, it didn't change you.
Good evening. We just have one item under our department. This time every year, the township must certify the cost to the auditor regarding the expenses for nuisance properties. There were 3 properties this year for a total of $505. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing. For a total of $871. So there's a resolution before you for your consideration.
I move to adopt a resolution certifying written report of action of this board and unpaid expenses in connection therewith under revised code section 505.87 to Hamilton County Auditor for collection.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
I just wanted to commend Barb again for her work, for her due diligence in these properties. She, as you can see from the memo, the previous years, she has consistently been able to keep these properties under 5, basically, which really keeps the township costs at a minimum. of
Yeah,
these
12 years
properties.
ago, we were at 13.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
That's huge.
she's really found the angle to make the property owners responsible, or the banks, or, you know, whoever is responsible for these properties to maintain them, so,
She will be missed.
thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Sheriff? No. Good job on catching the guy the Bar Louie guy.
Yeah, they found him, they had some kind of contact with him in Tennessee, and he lied about who he was, so I think they're going to drop the falsification charges so they can extradite him pretty quickly.
Good.
Thank you.
Public Works?
All right, I'll try to get through quickly here. Item A is a resolution authorizing the board to accept the donation of a piano for the senior center. That piano has been delivered, and it is in place. It has been tuned up, and it was evaluated before we took it, but I have a resolution authorizing the donation, if you will, for the piano from Mr. Ted Palmer.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing acceptance of donation of piano from Ted Palmer.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Second item I had before the board is very similar, and it's, there's a local ladies group and a local group that gets together called the Wagon Wheels Group. They've been serving the township area for many years, and they have routinely made donations to the township through the senior center and also to the fire department. This year was no exception. We graciously accept and appreciate their donation of $2,700 to be handed to the senior center, and I have a list of things that has already purchased, and so I'm very proud to present that to you guys tonight. So authorization accepting a donation from the Wagon Wheels Group.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing acceptance of donation from Wagon Wheels.
And that paid for the ping pong table?
Ping pong table is
The
one
new
of the
pots,
items,
too?
yes.
The new
The pots
pots?
out front.
You haven't been to the senior center lately? It looks great. The new pots are beautiful.
How many times have you been there?
Do you,
I
do
go
you
there
ever-
a lot.
You're there every day, right?
No, I'm not there every day, but you can get lunch for $1 at the senior center, just saying.
Wait a minute, what?
Yes,
She's there every day.
We have a second?
second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone? Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you. The next item I have before the board is authorization to award the CFI landscaping project. As the board is aware, the CFI, for the most part, is completed. Punch list items have been completed, and even this week, we hung the great Anderson sign on the fence out at the IHOP location. If you haven't noticed it, please stop by and take a selfie or a photo with that. And thank Mr. Severs and Paul for all their efforts in getting that together and getting that worked out. I think it makes a big impact. But as part of that, we have some landscaping to finish up around the project. We have both sides of Beachmont and some areas up and down 5 Mile that are going to need to be beautified. What you have in front of you is the authorization for me to do that.
I move to adopt a resolution to accept the bid of $124,870.28 from custom landscape contractors deemed to be the most responsive and responsible bidder for the CFI landscaping project in accordance with the bid plans and specifications, together with a 10% contingency for maximum appropriation of $135,857 in TIF funds in an existing purchase order. Further, this board hereby authorizes and directs the township administrator to give timely notice of award to the contractor and, after consultation with the law director, to enter into contract with custom landscape contractors in accordance with their bid for the CFI landscaping project.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
I apologize for that. It's, we have to get all the
It's wordy.
correct terminology in there and be in place so that we're
I'll
legal.
take the next one.
The next 2 items I have before the board is awarding contract and confirming assessments for the Williams Creek and Little Dry Run Lighting District. This is a renewal, and it's a no increase renewal to those residents. This will allow us to continue to pay for the street lighting that is in the neighborhood.
I move to adopt a resolution awarding contracts and confirming assessments for Williams Creek and Little Dry Run Lighting District pursuant to revised code sections 9.30, 515.081, 515.11, and 515.08.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
And the last item I have before the board, awarding contract and confirming assessments for the Rayborn Lighting District.
I move to adopt a resolution awarding contract and confirming assessment for Rayborn Lighting District pursuant to revised code sections 9.30, 515.081, 515.11, and 515.08.
Second.
Mr. Pappas? Mrs.
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you, and that's all I have unless you have questions.
Thanks, Richard. Fire and rescue.
Good evening. Again on the agenda, I have
information about vehicles. As you know, we continue to work through our vehicle committee, fire rescue, and the rest of the township divisions to continue to keep things moving. And with that said, we have 2 vehicles. The first vehicle we need to advertise to remove. It's been removed from service. That's the first resolution that you have in front of you. The vehicle's already been replaced. It's time to get it on our auction site and find a new home for it and recover some of the cost. So in front of you, you have a resolution to allow us to do that with that 2004 Ford Excursion.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the sale of surplus equipment pursuant to Section 505.10 of the revised code, providing for the sale of personal property via internet auction.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
And the next item on the agenda is, with the recent purchase and arrival soon of our replacement Quint, it's time to advertise the current Quint that we have. In front of you, you have a resolution to allow us to be able to do that, to find a new home for it.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the sale of surplus equipment pursuant to Section 505.10 of the revised code, providing for sale of personal property via internet auction.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
What's the market on Quints now? Good, bad, like you sold that other one for?
Yeah, we're about ready to find out. So we sold the last one to a Canadian department for $250,000. So we're hoping that we find a buyer. So we'll let you know real soon how that works out, especially if they need it right away. If you don't have any other questions, I would like to thank Gary for everything he's done for the Fire and Rescue Department on behalf of everyone. Whenever we needed something or there was a special project and he was sent to do it, it was well accomplished by he and his staff. So good luck in retirement.
Thanks, Chief. Vicki?
It is the time of year when we're getting calls asking when Halloween trick-or-treat is going to be scheduled. So there is a motion before the board that we would ask you to adopt. Would also like to remind everyone that the annual jack-o'-lantern walk is going to be held on October 28th. It's Saturday at 7 p.m. here. It'll be around Anderson Lake. So we encourage people to take part in that activity as well as trick-or-treat. Again, a reminder, if homeowners want to get together in their neighborhood and they want to select a different date and time, they are welcome to do that. But this is a formality for the board to adopt this resolution.
I move to adopt a resolution to set Tuesday, October 31st, 2017, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. as Halloween trick-or-treat in Anderson Township.
Second.
Any discussion?
That's just silly.
Mr.
That's just
Pappas?
silly. Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
And there aren't any items arising from exec session, but I would also like to congratulate Gary on his retirement. Thank you for your many, many years of service, for your friendship, for sharing the stories about your family and your son, and just being an overall wonderful person to work with. We really appreciate it and wish you well.
Thanks, Vicki.
Josh Miss Odom's here now. So.
Yeah. Come on up. It's all right.
Did you break every speed limit between,
So this is public comment, right?
did you break the speed limit?
Comment.
No, I didn't. I couldn't speed, the traffic was dead stop. Thank you so much. My name is Jackie O'Dom, and I live at 7084 Salem Road. My husband Zach and I have twin 9-year-olds and a 17-year-old that live there with us. There is a property next door, 7094 Salem, that has been a concern. I have contacted the zoning board. They have contacted the Board of Health, the fire department. I have some photos I'd like to show you all. Should I just hand them up?
Yeah.
Okay. There is a structure off of the side of the building that the family that was living there was using as a kitchen. It is balanced on a very narrow beam. I had some concerns about the stability. I contacted the zoning commission. They turned it over to the city. It is under review, and they had informed the tenants there, or the family that owns the home, that it was not up to code, and so they had to do some revisions or remove it. They have until December 16th to do that. In the interim, the family brought in, I was told it's a storage shed, but it's a construction trailer that was on a trailer. They did remove the trailer, and now it's balanced on cinder blocks. And we were told that they would be using that for storage. The family there is cooking with propane gas in that trailer. When I first moved in, there was a very short waist-high fence. There's an in-ground pool in the backyard. So for safety reasons, I went ahead and put up a fence around the pool, as well as a privacy fence to shield what was happening in the yard next door. They had garbage and a toilet and things in the backyard that I didn't want to look at. So put the fence up, but now this trailer is there, and they are cooking out of it. The fire department has been there, the Board of Health. Thus far, we've not found anything that says that this is a problem. But my concerns are safety issues. You know, it's very close to my wood fence, very close to my driveway, and you know, I'm concerned. So I wanted to come and present this to you all and see if there's anything else that we can do to resolve this issue. That's all I have.
Paul, you want to come up and give us an update on that? Is that okay, Vicki?
Or Vicki, I think.
Or Vicki?
Well,
Either one.
Paul, if you want to come up and address it from the zoning perspective. I know that our fire and rescue department has been out there, as well as Hamilton County Public Health. So there have been a number of folks that have addressed this, but I think Paul has the overall picture.
Hi, Paul.
Yes, I mean, just to add to this, and just to give a little synopsis for your information, we did receive, well, we received the first complaint. It was in April of 2016. This was regarding a home occupation, and we went and inspected and found that it was not a home occupation. Actually, let me even back up. The current owners purchased the property in 2014. Prior to that, the house was actually vacant for quite some time, and it went into foreclosure. So once the current owners purchased the property, they did start renovations, and one of them was to enclose a porch area on the side of the house. When we did go out there to inspect that, they did apply for zoning certificates, and they also applied for their building permits. However, the proper inspections were not made by the county. So that is why now the county is extended the inspection period till December to ensure that the building is going to be safe and it is built according to the building code. We did go out on a second complaint, which was in May of this year regarding the trailer in the storage area. And for better or worse, an accessory structure is an accessory structure. The township does not, or zoning does not regulate the actual design of an accessory structure. This was formerly a construction trailer, but the zoning resolution doesn't differentiate between a construction trailer, a yard barn that you buy at Lowe's, or a detached garage, as long as it's accessory to the house. That's really what the definition is that structure must be accessory to the house, but it doesn't define what it should look like. It was originally greater than 200 square feet, which is still permitted but would require a building permit. They have reduced the size, and we did go out and measure ourselves. So actually, it's 200 square feet now. It does not require a building permit. They did remove it from the wheels at our request, although it wasn't a requirement, but it was at our request. They did remove it, and it is sitting on blocks, but it doesn't require a building permit. And, so that's actually in compliance. The third was regarding cooking, and the complaint came in, not necessarily from you all, but it came in as cooking something other than food. So again, went out to do an inspection, but it was verified it was just food that was being cooked. There was a complaint that said that there was a hose of propane coming from the house. That was not accurate either. It was water. Public Health did go out and do an inspection. There's nothing that Public Health has to enforce regarding cooking in the accessory building. Same with fire, I believe. a fire also went out and found no violations from a fire standpoint. So there are two outstanding issues. One is the addition on the side of the house, which is under review by Hamilton County Building Department, and that is open until December. And then we have a property maintenance letter out to finish the siding on the side of the house. That has not been finished.
When was
So-
that, when is that enforceable, or is it not enforceable?
The property owner has been answering our calls, working with us. Every time we go out, they're more than willing to meet with us. And we are working with them. We feel that the addition is the thing that needs to be fixed first, because that is an expansion of the kitchen. That way it allow them to start cooking back in their house again. So we're concentrating on them finishing the addition first before the siding. We just felt that that was more important. So we've been working with them. We didn't give them a definitive deadline. It was one piece of siding that's missing on the side of the house versus the addition, and we would rather them finish the addition first and then
Is there siding on the front of
finish.
the house too, or no?
It's a log cabin, and they're not required to put siding on that. If they choose, they can. If they don't, it has a protective covering, which again is compliant with our property maintenance code.
Okay.
So, do you have any other questions?
I thought that I heard that the county was having some issues with the addition as far as the foundation.
Correct.
And that may actually cause what's your opinion? Is that going to cause the
Well, this
addition
is-
to come off, or them to redo it, or do you have any idea?
I don't. The county is working with them to make sure that it's built to the building code. So they need to revise their plans and then have it inspected. And the county has given them till December to correct the problem.
To correct the problem.
We either remove the addition or make sure that the foundation is built to code.
So we've done everything that we can at a township level, passing it along to the county, because we really our powers are pretty limited at a township level.
We feel that we have, again, the last outstanding issue is that little piece of siding, and we can really push that issue, but I think the bigger issue is to get, is
Finish.
finish the addition.
Go ahead.
So then, will it still be okay, once the addition is completed and finished, for them to continue to cook out of the trailer? Or is that not a problem? I don't understand.
It's not a
Doesn't sound
violation.
like it's a violation
It's
of
not a
any-
violation. That's what Paul's saying, is
So
that
even if they do fix the addition and put it back on, they are still okay to cook in the trailer? Cook out of the...
I mean,
Yes.
for example, if you had a motor home and you want to go cook out in every night, you're allowed to do that.
Well, there's certain neighborhoods that have covenants and restrictions against that stuff. You live along Salem, so there's no homeowners association per se, I'm guessing. So, I mean, that would be the only other situation where that may not be allowed.
Right, in a homeowner's, but would they be willing to, would it help, and I don't even know if this is possible, I've just seen the picture, if they moved the trailer over farther from the fence, is that a solution? Has that been tried? Have
The
they asked
problem
them?
with the trailer, I have a 6-foot high privacy fence that I put up. I paid to put up when I first bought the house, like I said, so I didn't have to deal with it. But the trailer is on blocks, and it sits about 5 to 6 feet over my fence. When you walk out the back deck, there's a tiered deck off the back of my house. That's the first thing you see. Exactly.
Is that from your deck?
But now it's turned this way, so now it's parallel to the fence.
But this is from your deck, right?
That's from my deck.
Yeah.
Yes, so there's no way to unsee it. The issue of moving it farther away, does that make me feel a little bit better as far as a fire hazard? I guess so. I mean, it's right next to the fence, but the driveway, the structure that they had as an addition onto the side of the home, that was my initial concern, because it's plywood and plexiglass, and they have hot grease vats that they were cooking out of.
Woks.
And my concern, woks, whatever it was, that if something went up in flames, my house was going up in flames, no question. It's that close, it's a driveway away. I was instructed that I should plant trees along the property line, and that's what I'm going to probably have to do, to not see, but then that creates additional concern, because then the trees are right there, more of a fire hazard, in my opinion. So I'm just looking for help here. I'm very concerned about my safety, about my husband's safety, my children's safety, not to mention, all of the people that are living there. There's lots of people living there, so, you know.
Well, we appreciate you coming and letting us know, and the pictures are helpful, help paint the picture. It sounds like we've done just about everything we can, and I mean, unfortunately, being the type of government we are, we don't have a whole lot more power than that, and I think there are several homes in our wonderful township that people don't necessarily are prompt in keeping up. Mr. Farmer could speak to one of those who happens to live next to us. So, I mean, we all, I mean, we feel for you. How long have you guys lived there?
A little over a year.
And you guys did a wonderful job fixing up your house. I mean, your house
Thank
is
you.
cute as,
I appreciate that.
well, it is. That's, what do we call that, Paul? That area is, so it was a concern area where we're trying to keep everything up over there. I mean, I forget what we call that. I mean, it's just an area that we're trying to make sure doesn't fall into disrepair, because this house was vacant for how long?
I don't know how long it was actually vacant. It went into foreclosure, and
I remember
there was
passing it.
damage to the house. A car rode down the driveway and ran into the front door. So it stayed damaged until the current owners purchased the property. And they did actually.
I think the neighbors in the area would agree that it was probably better off as a vacant property, honestly.
Have you had contact with them?
Oh, yes.
Well, the gentleman that lives there doesn't speak English, or his wife. There's a younger man, he does speak English, and a lot of the people that come over do not speak English. I've tried to communicate with Ken, the gentleman who owns the home, and he said, I don't think he quite understands that we're concerned about it safety-wise and visually. He just said, oh, they're making me do this, or the city's making me do this, or whatnot. I don't think he understands that it's a safety issue.
Okay.
So I appreciate it. I do have one last question. If there's nothing else that can be done, if I decide I want to sell my home and I can't sell my home because of the way the property is next door and people are concerned, is there some type of letter I can get from the township stating that everything was done that could possibly be done? And
Well, you certainly, I mean, we have public records of planning and zoning contacting him, so you certainly, that's all public stuff, so yes, you could,
so I
you
can get
could, you could get that.
documentation of that? Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Unless anybody has anything else, then our next regular monthly scheduled board meeting will be September 21st in this room at 6 p.m. I'm sorry.
This gentleman came in late.
Oh, I'm sorry. We did public comments at the end because we were waiting. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You can-
No, you can come speak now, yes.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Right here?
Right
Yeah,
here.
why don't you come up and,
Introduce yourself, say your name.
Hi, my name's Dave Champions. I live over in Sherwood Forest, and I had a question about something that's been bantered around on social media recently, and that is the proposed SEP program, needle exchange program, on, I'm assuming, a blighted lot down by Kellogg or somewhere in that area. I mean, that the township owns or has access to.
We haven't picked a spot yet.
Haven't picked a spot, okay. I'm sure that there's been due diligence before the idea was even mentioned. So are you guys aware that the city of Cincinnati has a $150,000 mobile unit that they put in their budget rate? Do we have any idea what the preliminary numbers look like for Anderson to be involved in a needle exchange program?
we do not, so I can, if you have any other questions, or go ahead and finish, and I'll kind of tell you where we're at.
Okay. Number one, and is it going to be a fixed structure? Do we have any, or is it just a pure shotgun discussion that's being held at this point?
I'm not sure if shotgun discussion's the right acronym for this, but
Yeah, probably.
basically, the health department, and Vicki will fill in where I miss information here, but the health department approached us, Anderson Township, about this idea back in,
May 18th at a public meeting in this room.
came to this meeting and asked us to consider it. We have not done anything with it to the extent of investigating it. We are talking internally about it. We're giving some thought to it, but in terms of the cost, the impact, any and all of that to the township, we are well we're far away from making any decision.
Okay.
And no decision is going to be made until we do all the due diligence that you just...
That's fine, I fully anticipated that.
That you just mentioned, plus public input as well.
Correct. Okay, I fully anticipated that, but I was assuming, working under the assumption that some due diligence was already done in regards before it was going to be even brought up, but I can wait.
Well, you could, I would suggest you go on to the May 18th, the board meeting. You can see the whole presentation. If you go on to ACTV, there's a link to it. And you can see what the health department presented to us. And I think that's a good place for citizens to start, because it answers a lot of questions of why and what they're considering. And, you know, and that's a good place to start. And as Josh said, we have not gone beyond that at this point.
Vicki, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing, the May 18th board meeting, because it was a number of physicians that came and presented, and it was a request of the board, and the board is responding to its health commissioner.
Is it a safe bet that because the county approached the township, that this is county funded and not something off of Anderson Township's?
That's still, I don't envision the township spending any money on this.
Okay, that's a good start.
That is not something
That's
that...
a good start.
Would it be county funding? Would it be private donations? Would it be a grant? Would it be one of the hospitals or the medical facilities kicking? And that's yet to be determined.
Then what would be the benefit of coming to Anderson Township and having them sign off on it if the county ultimately has the ability to do it on their own without really...
It's not a matter of just the funding. It's a matter of, is this something that's right for our community?
Okay.
And that's the Board of Trustees' decision.
We, myself in particular, have been fairly vocal and involved in this epidemic. I have met over the last 2.5 years with other elected officials to discuss this issue. 2 of our residents have been killed by people.
I think we all believe it's
And so it's an issue, and I think because our township, I believe, is highly regarded by the county and some other townships, I think they came to us looking for someone to help them lead in this cause. But that does no way, in any shape or form, mean that we're going to just carte blanche adopt this and put this in place. I appreciate you coming and actually asking us, because I can only imagine what's out there on social media. The land of rumors and everything else. So
It was lively.
yeah, I'm sure it was. So I do appreciate you actually coming here and asking us, because I think one thing you can go back to anyone you're talking to and say is that no decision has been made, and we will not make any decision lightly.
That point was well made.
Good.
On social media as well, that it was going to be open, and that's why I thought, well, let's get the ball rolling since the genie's out of the bottle. Let's get a few answers, but if you're not ready for answers, I understand.
We promise we'll be as transparent as anybody should be on this matter when it comes time.
Outstanding.
Yep.
Thank you all
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, motion to adjourn.
Second. Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes. Thanks, everybody.